In recognition of International Day of Persons with Disabilities, CNIB is raising awareness about the inaccessible voting process in Canada.
90 years ago, amendments were made to the Dominion Elections Act to allow blind and partially sighted Canadians to be able to cast their vote without having to verbally identify their choices to elections officers and representatives from their candidates. We've come a long way in the last 90 years, and many changes have been made to help blind Canadians vote independently. Unfortunately, even today, we do not have a process in place that will allow a blind voter to be able to cast their ballot and vote independently and in secret.
My name is Louis Greco. I'm currently living in Halifax, and I have voted in almost every election since 1978.
My name is Fran Cutler, and I'm in Ottawa, Canada.
My name is Bernard Aquaco, and I currently reside in Brantford, Ontario.
My name is Penny Harton. I live in Toronto.
I'm Diane Bergeron. I am in Ottawa, Ontario, and I have been voting in federal elections for the past 35 years.
Fran Cutler. The last couple of elections, there has been more emphasis on options for people with vision loss at the polls and about assistance that they can have while casting the vote. But we're not there yet by any means where people who have any degree of sight loss can vote privately and independently. In other words, without the help of any other individual, so that they can vote the way normally sighted Canadians do.
Louis Greco. At all levels of government, for the elections, there needs to be better accessibility. I shouldn't be forced to hope that I can cast my ballot independently. If I choose to cast my ballot independently, I should have every reasonable resource to do so.
Diane Bergeron. We have Braille templates. We have Braille lists of candidates. There's magnifiers provided. Lighting has changed. There's all different types of accommodations that have been made. But even with that, we still don't have the ability within the rights that we are given as Canadians to vote independently in secret. Blind people still don't have that. We can cast our ballot, we can mark it, but then I have no way to independently check to see if I've marked it adequately the way I wanted to. I still need to show that to a sighted person who now knows what my vote is. So my vote has never been secret, which I believe is a fundamental right in this country.
Penny Harton. It would be really helpful for our voting system to move to more electronic type voting and potentially telephone voting, which I know that is now done in certain jurisdictions.
Fran Cutler. I've been active with organizations for people with vision loss in Australia, as I have been here. And I've been at briefings for accessible voting for the state elections in the state of New South Wales, where they have been using telephone voting for some time. And they have done the right thing. They have consulted with stakeholder groups, in this case, what's called Blind Citizens Australia and Vision Australia and Guide Dogs Australia, to find out what people need, what people with varying degrees of vision loss need at the polls. And the overwhelming answer that comes back is the option of telephone voting.
Louis Greco. It's 2020, and we're living in a digital age, and yet the most fundamental right of a free society, we're still relying on lead pencils and paper to elect our government. That just doesn't seem to fit.
Diane Bergeron. We're really going to need to take a look at changing the Electoral Act, making sure that there's a process in place that works for everyone. That could be telephone voting, internet voting, some form of electronic ballots. However we do it, there needs to be a way for us to do it independently in secret and be able to check that once we've done it. But I think that the way that has to happen is through a process that would be that would retain the anonymity of the voter and also provide the voter with dignity and respect, and not have them have to divulge their information to another person.
Brought to you by the CNIB Foundation.